pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today is Tuesday, August the 1st, 2023, 6 p.m. Meeting of the Greensburg Water Board is called to order. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests the participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Patrick Kennedy.
Here.
Frank Massey.
Here.
Robin Meyer.
Here.
Tony Hickenbotham.
Here.
Ryan Maddox.
Here. Well, thank you. Call for approval of minutes. Y'all got a copy of the minutes from that 7-minute meeting we had last month? Mr. Massey, you approve? I approve. Anyone else? Any objections, corrections? All right, we'll accept the minutes as presented. The old business on the agenda tonight. New business. Rick's coming up already.
Yes.
What you got, Rick?
I should have these passed out to you. Good. Good evening.
Chris, I'll print it out.
First, Robin, if we could,
Thanks.
I had the contract with Strand showed up in my inbox this morning. I made the agendas up yesterday, so I received it afterwards. If we could amend the agenda to include that, I'll explain a little bit what it is.
Certainly.
We have to have a motion to do that.
Yeah. Motion to amend the agenda to include the Strand Associates.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good.
What this is, what we're doing, is we're looking at updating our design standards. It's us, the wastewater, city side, storm sewer. We met with Strand Associates about approximately a month ago. This morning I just received in my inbox the breakdown cost of what each one of the departments is going to be paying to do this. These standards has not been updated since between 2006, 2007. In this contract, I can't find the numbers on it. I think that's because Ron emailed them to me, but our portion is $20,500.
$500.
Did you get that? I think I forwarded the email to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And it shows the breakdown on there of each department.
Stormwater 17,000, wastewater 20,500, water 20,500, transportation 22,000.
Yeah, I think wastewater was the most expensive, right?
Transportation.
Oh, how much was it?
22.
Gotcha. Apologize, I should have printed that off for you. So the whole contract amount is for $80,000 to update our design standards, which needs to be done. So I'm looking for the approval for the $20,500 on our portion to get started on this.
Any questions? Anything to add, Mr. Mayor? Ron?
No, the only thing is the other three will be presented to the Board of Works next week. It's my intention that will go through. It is part of a larger sort of total package. So if for some reason those don't go through, I don't know that price is probably going to be honored to only do the water, but I also don't anticipate that it won't. But that's all.
Very well. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll second.
Motion, Frank will second. All those in favor with signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
As easy as $20,500 you ever got, Rick.
That's right.
That would ask for more.
This year, we have had a tremendous amount of trouble with Flatrock River. People walking down the side of the hill, shooting range, leaving trash, they're taking tires that the police department have down there, tractor tires, rolling them over to our burn pile, taking great big sitting structures for the police that they shoot off of and stuff, and dragging them down to the river. We've had more trouble this year than we ever have, not to mention that it's a liability issue, if the mayor would like to speak on that part, but. So, talking to the mayor, we decided to possibly get this fenced in to kind of keep people deterred. I don't know, it will deter them some. I'm sure they're still gonna find a way to do it if they want to, but if we can get some help from maybe the sheriff's department to kind of police it a little bit, it might help if we do get it fenced in. But I got two different prices. One was from Indiana Wire. And if you look at that price, it's $43,838, and that's for the footage here. See the footage right offhand. It's roughly 564 feet, and this is the galvanized. If we wanted to go with the coated fence, if you look below the total material and install labor, it's another $8,829 to do this. I got a hold of Capital City Fence. They're the ones that put the fence around the water plant. And I had them quote me two different options. One was to replace the whole thing. The gates need to be replaced no matter what. They're tore up and people's ran into them and bent them up. And I mean, we have a hard time getting them open and closed now. So I got a price from Capital City Fence. On the south end, 565 foot galvanized fencing. What I just priced you for 43, Capital City Fence will do it for 34,000. And if we wanted to just replace the whole fence from Flatrock River to the south side of our property, butt it up against the woods, that's new. Gates, everything, that's another $26,000. So for $60,000, we can replace everything up there. Now that's with my guys going up, which is not a problem. We have a grapple bucket on the backhoe to pull the old fence up out of the holes, and they'll come back and do all the install.
Okay, so these quotes aren't apples and apples, right?
Well, the only apple-to-apple quote that I have is the north end.
Okay,
The north end, like I say, was
so that's from the gates to the river?
to the river, yes.
That's 26 versus 43.
Correct.
Do we need it going to the woods? You need to replace it. It appears higher and it appears intact. I don't know.
It is. I think that portion of the fence is okay. I really do. It's just kind of a matter. I know we need to do the gates. We need to replace the gates. So maybe on the other side of the gates, heading south, honestly, would probably be okay. It's not going to match, but it's not going to match in a few years anyway. So that's the board's wishes. So
You're looking just to do the north part.
at the minimum, correct.
Now, I will say I drive past that most evenings, 5, 6 o'clock, and rarely are there not cars parked on the side where you can't see people coming up and down those hills and crossing over and going to the river to fish and do whatever. And yeah, so I see that quite a bit. I don't know if any of you ever drive out that way, but there's some pretty worn down paths that
Yes,
it's a pretty popular spot there.
correct.
So, what questions would the board have from Rick?
So on the capital city, on the north end, option A, you'd have to include gates in that though, wouldn't you? If you wanted to.
I would have to include gates, yes, because I had them include the gates if we did the south end, so.
Don't know what that broken out is.
Not the gates, but I would assume it's probably not gonna cover the, $17,000 gap?
make sense if we get quotes that matched?
Well, if you look at the north option, they do match.
Okay,
If that's what we're looking at, if we're
Okay,
looking
we're
at
just-
replacing the,
without the gates.
yeah, that is true. That capital city fence does not include the gates.
Questions? Tony, you're thinking awful hard.
I don't know, I'm just trying to.
I know those gates, they look
They're bad.
like they're worked to get them open and shut when you pull in there, so. Probably same ones when I was working there
I would just about guarantee.
40 years
it.
ago. You know. What's your pleasure, board?
Is that an issue, not having the price of the gates on there, you think, or?
I would think that if you could give me up to $29,000, that I could get it all installed. I'm just guessing. I don't think it would be $3,000 for gates, but but then again, I don't know. So
Chris, because it's under 50, they can,
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I mean, there's nothing, there's no,
they can authorize any amount under 50,000.
right, yeah. So I mean, if you just wanted to give a blanket approval of not to exceed, what, 30?
30, I'm sure 30 would cover.
Yeah, not to exceed 30.
All right, with pleasure. Is there a motion out there yet?
I'll make a motion to accept the capital city fence not to exceed $30,000. Is that the north option? Is that what you're talking about? Which would include now 2 gates?
It would just be the gate at the entrance. Yep.
All right, we have a motion on the floor not to exceed $30,000. And Ryan seconded. All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll contact them tomorrow and see when they can get started.
A little more work than the first one, wasn't it, Rick?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do you have for us tonight?
Just have the July MRO that I just completed and submitted to IDEM this morning, so if you have any questions on that.
Any questions?
Email that?
Sorry.
Did you email that?
No, I gave you a hard, no, yes, no, I did not.
That's what I figured, that's why I asked.
I apologize.
Sure.
I usually put them in your packets.
Yeah.
See it.
And I did them today, so I was
That's
ordering
okay.
hard copies, and I do have hard copies actually, but I didn't hand them out.
That's okay.
Just to give you a little update, I told you last month we had our UCMR 5, not the UCMR 5, the PFAS sampling with IDEM, non-detectable. I did just receive last week my results from EPA's UCMR 5s, which includes the PFAS, and everything we tested for was below detection level again. So I assume that's how it'd be. We're gonna do that for 3 more quarters. So each quarter I'll give you an update where we're at. I don't anticipate a problem though, so.
All right.
And that was the one where they wanted your information, so that in case they wanted to test it going forward.
That was the
government?
one that IDEM was trying to get ahead of the
IDEM,
ball game, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I tested like 2 weeks prior to, or 3 weeks prior to doing the EPA testing, so it was kind of a double. So I didn't anticipate a problem. That's all I have.
Oh, you have?
That's all I got.
Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to come before the board? Ron, Mr. Mayor, anybody? I think we've covered all of our employees for our employee appreciation, so I think that went well, thank you. Rick, next month you should be prepared to tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with the water plant, and kind of like everybody else did, and then we'll save Donna for the following month and we'll let her go last.
Slideshow would be great.
Because we'd like to hear all about you folks as well. So, yeah. So,
Was there ever a time you had hair?
Yeah, there was
Like,
a
is there
time.
some pictures?
It would have to be back when I was like in 10th grade. I seen your pictures on bulb pretty much.
all right, very good. If there's nothing else to come before the board, we'll be adjourned.